Hello my friend, today what I'm just doing is um, painting of the rest of the parts, which is like photons or pythons or some other small parts, and I just wiped off the enamel, which is called as washing, right? And it's just nothing special at that time. Just take that unnecessary paint off. And in this time, the main purpose is to to make that the details up according to the mold, and it's just very beginning. I mean, it's not a complete things that because I just doing other weathering after this, so it's just preparing for the basic paint, basic weathering, right? Of course you can finish it like this, but if you want some more details of the weathering, you should do a little bit more, right? And at that time, maybe if you want, you can use the cross, like you can wipe off with the cross. It's really up to you. So until the surface will get more clear. And if you remain a little bit some at this time, it also have a very nice expression. However, it's I think it's pretty. I think very odd, very quite nothing interesting point at this time. So in this time, I just take this away. I think it's very similar of pin wash, like just only a panoramize and another. But at least it's the color of the surface will be a little bit changed according to putting enamel paint. Surface will be more natural surface, which is like if I compare with just using the dry brush only. So I think washing is pretty needed techniques like that. And as you can see, this is pretty normal. It's like a brand new photons. Okay, I think that's enough. So what I'm going to wanna do is to have some where the other thing. And I want something about how do I say? It's a sort of tipping techniques, and I can show you how is my chipping techniques. There is several way, but you can use as many case, and this is one of my tipping techniques, and which is pretty difficult, not difficult, but it's pretty how do I say? So using by the sponge, and this is a masking tool, and put a little bit and stamp it what you want, where you want, right? In this case, I have already had some weathering on it, so I just avoiding at that time. There's some interesting weathering I already had, so I just avoiding that. Just only remaining area, just put it. And this tipping is pretty over. It's sometimes it's gonna be a very oversized, very dynamic tipping. So you should care about that. If you do so much, the whole area is tipped off. So I just put in some as I want. I think it's pretty fine. And the other hand, which is pretty clear too, very nice to see, because there is no weathering at all, so just putting on a little bit dynamic. If you think you don't use, if you do so much, you can just blow it off, cover it with another colors. So it's just stamp it. I think it's gonna be a very, very huge tipping. So if you want to make a very little and very tiny tipping, you can use the sponge as what I like, with the enamel brown or black. Maybe if you want, you can use a silver, whatever. And I used to use that kind of very tiny weathering, so you can use as the some other very tiny tipping works using wire sponge. And in this point is pretty useful if I compare with painting by the brush itself. The sponge is get a more natural taste of figure of the tipping. And I think this is pretty dynamic, which is fine. Because fuel tanks is usually using by many times and no paint at all. Just I think the wasting issues, so a little bit dynamic is pretty fine. So after it get dry, I turn to make a color to put the I think bright gray. I think a little bit bright gray or is fine, I think. So in aircraft case, the tipping is, at least in modern aircraft, usually the paint is very strong, which is better than World War II style. And sometimes, the tipping is not really necessary to do this, but especially if you do the tipping works, you can do this which is like this corner. This is the, I think, the low bray, and this is the very extremely high air, condition, brewing, so much air, and this is the, supersonic aircraft. So sometimes you can see black tipping around the corner, or as I can say, I can see quite well tipped the paint, the front of the corn, and you can see carefully in the rear picture. You can see a little bit tipping, even modern aircraft. And in that case, you can paint it, which is like, I think if you want to use a black, you can use the acrylic paint. You can also use the enamel paint, but in this case, I just choose the some very small sponges, and try to put some stamp, very small tip, using by very very soft touch of sponge stamping techniques. And if you push so much, the figure of tipping will more obvious and very unnatural. So just and if you can't control very well using by acrylic, I can use the enamel, but enamel is more liquid, so sometimes it's very hard to control. I think in that case, acrylic is pretty fine, I think. And if you doing with acrylic, it's pretty I think if you miss so much, I think you should use the enamel. I think the better, but it's really up to you anyway. Okay. And on the other hand, you can use the this is already done. So I don't have so much nice example, please. So just to put some tip in front of the corn, and a little bit. Okay, rough is fine. And this is quite technical things that you don't understand what I'm saying. And this is my extremely technique. So in acrylic paint case, if the paint is middle dry, I mean not completely dry, if the paint is completely dry, it cannot get it. What I'm going to do. In acrylic paint case, if the paint is half dry, if I wiped with the enamel thinner using by a cotton swab, it can be a little bit wiped off. If the paint is completely dry, it cannot control. You can use the acrylic thinner, of course. But the paint is still wet a little bit. You can wipe it off with the enamel thinner, what I say, and the tipping is more like accurate. I mean, more like it's very nice shape of the edges of the tipping figure. I don't know how to say. So you cannot see, right? You cannot see the difference, but it's definitely nice. I mean, if I use only a sponge, the figure is more like natural. If the paint is completely dry by using acrylic color, it cannot work. But if the paint is still wet, you can do like this. And this is, I think, the pretty difficult. You have to count the time. You have to make sure that the paint is already enough or not, dry or not, And in this time, a little bit, I have to wait because the paint is still too wet, right? So using acrylic paint, and now I'm using enamel thinner, right? Which is completely confusing works, but in that case, it can wipe it off if you want. But I think that after 30 minutes or 1 hour, it cannot take it off. You have to use the acrylic paint, acrylic thinner, instead of the enamel, right? So if you it's really, I think, the sense of feeling, which really up to person who is familiar with the tipping. So you can see a lot of tipping in your environment, so you can just check it and try to make a very accurate tipping. And this seems like if you are putting enamel color instead of the acrylic, you can wipe it off with enamels, of course, but if you want to make a very interesting and very natural taste, I think you should use the acrylic paint. And after it's not completely dry, if you do this, I think it's a very small things, but it's very effective in 1/32. Okay, it's a time to paint the bright color. I think the masking though has already dry, I hope. And maybe it's really up to you if you want to use the you can use a little bit dark color if you want, and I think the bright is pretty fine. No, just to try a little bit dark one. It's always confusing. So the paint must be a little bit different with the original surface color. So if the color is completely the same, then the effect will not appear. But anyway, just you can glue a little bit around this one. I think it's a pretty similar color, I think. Just fine. Okay. Next, I think this one is pretty. The effect will be obvious because the basic color of this fuel tank is based on the number 308, and now I'm brewing a 306, so the difference is very obvious. So if I tipped off, the expression will be a little bit over, I think, but at this time it's just fine. So cover this little bit is fine. A little bit. So if the paint is dry completely, of course, it can just take the masking zone away. So using my pinset is pretty fine. And if the masking zone is really hard to stick, you can use the tapes. This is pretty strong, right? So the point that if you put the masking zone so a little bit, after it gets dry completely, it's very hard to take off like this, you know. So the masking zone must be put some a little bit plenty. I used to explain before. Masking zone is really handy, but if you put so thin, it's in aftermath is very hard, tough work. So it's gonna be so. If it has to remain, you can use much more strong tape, which is like, you know, too sticky tape. This is much more strong. Very strong. And at that time I put quite similar color, so there is not much difference. And masking zone is very weak from the enamel thinner. So if you put the enamel thinner and wiped off with the cotton swab or whatever, it will take off very easily maybe. But I think the surface is also something to do with that, because the surface is a little bit flat, so the masking zone is quite strong to hard to take off. So I can see a little bit masking zone remain at this time, so you need to test, or you need to be a very nice experience to get your own expression. So I think there is no so much difference this time, because the expression has already done in this case. So if it doesn't show so much, it's gonna be alright. Nothing important. Okay, this side is pretty obvious. Right. A little bit, you can see, and it's pretty tough work, dark work, I think. This is very useful techniques for aircraft, because the surface is very flat. You can use the AFV or whatever, but I think the AFV is pretty, complicated surface. So, you should better to use only, I think, another techniques. So because you have to take off so much time using wire, such kind of tapes or whatever. Aircraft surface is pretty flat to do this, so easy to do this. So as you can see, the difference between salt effect here, this is the salt effect, and this is the tipping masking zone effect. So you have to make sure that the difference of the different techniques, and the result is very important. You can choose the many way of whatever I mean. You can use the, I think, not only a tipping expression. You can use some other expression which is similar. And this is the masking zone. Touch-up effect, and this is only put the sponge. Right. So once you can see only one simple few tongues, you can express many expression. And after I doing this, I just brewing over flat clear again, and then I use the I think the fuel stains, put some a little bit, and using my similar techniques I used to explain before, put the brush or stamp whatever, and I think I need to take this off anyway. And this one, I think this is pretty obvious. It's much more easy to identify the difference, because as I said, it is a completely different color, which is 308 and 306. So as I tell you, I shouldn't use the same color, different color. I shouldn't use a different color on one single aircraft paint. So because differences is so obvious, right? And you can see much more over weathered expression. So that's why I don't use the different color of the gray, because the expression is so much obvious, right? So I always use the same color for base paint, but this is the fuel tanks. So I just try to show you as a result of using by a different wrong color. Of course, it's gonna be a very nice expression will be if you do so much very well, but I never see nice results using by a different gray. So it is it should be different. It should be to use different same. .308 is a little bit blue, and 306 is contain a little bit purple. As I say, looks more purple, right? And 308 looks more blue, and 306 is pretty dark, so I just put a white a little bit and make sure that a little to the color is not tend to going too dark. And I think the 308 is pretty bright, I think, so you don't have to put the white so much anyway. So this is a typical tipping effect. And you can use the same techniques on World War II aircraft, which is more hard surface of the tipping heavy expression. So in this technique is basically I used to make World War II aircraft. So this technique is basically comes from the such kind of the historical background, and because as I say, the painting is so weak, stick onto the metal surface, so easy to tip off. So in this kind of techniques is very useful, such kind of expression. And if you do so much, the result is so obvious. So you can if you can paint by the brush, of course. If the you want to have more obvious effect, you can have some other techniques, which is like coat it with the hair I think the hair liquid or something, and you can learn from the FV techniques at that time. Hairspray, you can use the hairspray and brew the acrylic paint, and before it get completely dry, you can you can tear off with the brush or whatever. I think basically the result is very similar as what I did, but you can try many ways. This is, I think, up to that. Imagine that you really want to paint, right? It's really, it's not only only one way. It's some sort of example what I'm showing you. So at least you should have several techniques of tipping, at least. If you can have it, you can choose the best way, case by case, and at least I have 3 or 4 tipping techniques, so I can, easily to choose the, okay, this time I should do this time I should do this. It's very up to the situation, which is like, in this time the surface is very flat, so I can use some kind of, very annoying works. If the surface is very complicated and upside down, I cannot do this because there's so many construction, is up there. So it's hard to do this. So I should choose to use the other techniques, right? So the masking zone is pretty handy, but if you don't put, so the treatment is pretty annoying. So I think the every single piece of work has to be get many times. Not modeling is not easy as it in all the way. I think you have to be a good effort. You have to do that good effort, right? The different difficult level must be controlled by yourselves. I mean, if you do, you can do many way of the easy way, and otherwise you have to, if you want to do more difficult way, the things be more complicated and difficult. You have to solve the problems what you have. If you make a difficult level, so. Okay, 20 minutes. I cannot upload it so long time. I think the 1 hour or 2 hours it could be, because I have to wait until upload it on YouTube. So at least I have to finish the recording. I think the 30 minutes or 40 minutes. So because of my internet problem, it takes a so long time to upload it. But sometimes it's it takes half a day. So maybe I just can show you the result of what I did. So this time is tipping techniques. So see you next time. Bye.